So before I go any further, we're on, I think it's about day 6, actually, of my appeal. You know, the appeal that they said, well, what we do is we have a look at things and your appeal, and, you know, we get back in like 24 hours. That's what we do. Yeah, we'll get back to you in 24 hours. Just not in this case. Seriously, day 6. Anyway, so millions of pensioners will have to find an extra £500 to heat their homes, piling pressure on Labour to reverse the axing of the winter fuel payments. Now, I know I should have done a vid at the time, but I was actually curious to see what kind of societal response would be to do something like that, especially when you saw vid after vid of Keir Starmer in the last year or so saying, you know, mocking the Conservatives about the potential of taking away pensioners' winter fuel payments, yeah, and how quickly that reversed. Remember, that was a trait of Labour back in 97 when Tony Blair said, don't you worry, if you need to go into care, you will not have to sell your house and assets and whatever else to pay for it. And what was the first thing they did when they got in 97? Yeah, the reverse of that. They have a history, but not just them, obviously, because, you know, as I say in many vids, you know, it doesn't matter which party you think is for you and is on your side, that they're all bought and paid for. It's the illusion of choice, but it doesn't matter who gets in. There is a direction of travel. So it said in a double whammy, the energy regulator yesterday announced it would hike the price cap by 10% from October. Isn't it, well, a theme over the last few years? We'll make it cheaper over time, blah, blah, blah. You can trust us. And then when you need it the most, we're going to have to raise that. Really, we're going to have to raise that. And obviously I should be doing other vids because, you know, you only have to go back a few decades ago. And I'll give you an example in Scotland. At least one or two of the nuclear power stations in Scotland, when energy demand was at its lowest during the night, the energy from nuclear power stations, I can't remember which ones, but at least one or two, would turn the turbines at the hydro power stations in reverse. So they would draw up the very water that had flowed through those generators, these turbines, while energy consumption was at its lowest demand and thus lowest price, to replenish these bodies of water, of which during the day would then release said water down turbines, blah, 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 etc., etc. There was variations on the theme, but without a doubt, nuclear power was a solution. And then all of a sudden, it apparently wasn't. And then when you look at sci-fi again, even what was it, Space 1999, I was looking at that recently. And I'm old enough to remember as a child the first time that came out. And of course, episode 1. So the storyline is you've got this moon base, and then one of the things that they're doing on this moon base is storing on the moon all this, they didn't actually say depleted uranium or whatever else, but some nuclear hazardous waste, and that was piling up across a certain area of the moon. And then at some point, oh boom, you know, the moon is turned in part of the moon is turned through this explosion into this sort of engine of which the moon leaves the Earth's orbit and, well, buggers off into the galaxy. But the inference was nuclear energy bad. Even then, yeah. And you've got a question, given what they're saying is the solution, we'll carve up nature. Remember, we'll turn farmland into, well, flowering fields and whatever else. And if you're a painter, wow, you'll have a lot of, subject matter. But, I mean, God forbid having productive farmland, which, let's face it, with a growing population of guests, more now than ever do we need farmland. No. Let's turn it back to nature. And if we're not doing that, let's build on farmland because of things like illegal immigration. Yeah, which goes back to another thing. I mean, let's be honest. How much are the taxpayers on the hook for people who, rather than come to our island, the UK, legally, no, we'll dinghy surf and we'll pay people thousands and thousands of pounds to dinghy surf across, for example, the English Channel, and those people that profess to be looking after native people's best interests in the UK, they'll treat us like gods and spend vast amounts of money on us and be the first in the queue for everything. And do you know what they're doing now? They're even taking money off the elderly for their heating. Seriously, think about that. Take that step back and look at it for what it is. Seriously, yeah. We'll turn so many scenic places and farmland into wind farms, a technology that's quite literally hundreds upon hundreds of years old, and we could be doing so much better than that now. We'll decimate vast amounts of wildlife. We'll cause major problems in so many ways. And everything we've created, none of it's recyclable. And it costs, if you believe anything about carbon footprints, there's never any way that any one of them is going to validate itself in any way, shape, or form. And it's not always windy. And, an endless list of shenanigans of which you just would not have done this. And we're now at, let's just take money from the most feeble of us, really, when you think about it, old age and the cold. Think about the cold. And its effect on old people. It's one of the number one causes of death of old people. The cold. Yeah. We'll take it from them because we've got a hole in the budget. Well, I mean, if we stopped encouraging people who illegally enter into our island, and see this foreign aid shenanigans, yeah, handing it to countries with their own space programs, things like that, and so much more. If you start looking at things like that, you can absolutely resolve situations without, the oldest of us, the most enfeebled because of old age, the ones that absolutely feel the cold the most, and the difference in their longevity could quite literally be, having the heating on. Yes? These socio-psychopathic loons, we'll just take it out of the old people. We'll just take it out on them. Yeah, because we're all in this together. I could yet again do a better job on this, but think about what I'm saying here. Look at what we are seeing. Seriously. And they're doing it with a smile. We've had to make the big decisions. Seriously. And remember, of course, none of them are affected by it because they actually get all their heating paid for. But that's also a running theme. And I'll speak to you soon.